What up? T-Bob here.
And Jake as well.
And look at you. You done stumbled upon little OTB Saints, where we bring you all the latest black and gold coverage.
Who are the Saints going to draft? Who's going to be their quarterback? What does the salary cap look like? All that information and more.
Hope you enjoy it. Like, subscribe. Saints
Mickey Loomis.
Spreading the wide
Mickey
net.
Loomis.
How we feeling?
Mickey Loomis press conference at 11 today. To me, man, I've been saying the same thing for a couple of years now. I would love to get my hands on pause. I would love to.
Yes.
I got to say it again. I'd love to get my hands on Cliff Kingsbury, or somebody like him, man. I mean, look at what he's doing, bro. Like, just look at yesterday's game. It's just a brilliant play calling game that he put on. I feel like that's what the Saints need. We deserve it. Offensive mind, something that really works. Not a Kubiak, something that's proven that can work with offense, man. And that's what I want. I know some people may differ. They may want a defensive coach, whatever. But I feel like the Saints will always be an offensive coach team, just in my opinion.
Dev, will it be next year, whoever you bring in, will it be a Derek Carr-led team? Because right now, I want to update you on something. Jaden Daniels now has more career playoff wins than Derek Carr.
Unbelievable, huh? Isn't that something?
will it be with Derek Carr behind center to start the season as a Saints starting quarterback?
Yeah, Derek Carr, you got to compare it to having just a lot of debt on your house. You know what I'm saying? You can't go buy a new house because you owe so much on this crappy house, and that's what Derek Carr is right now. So, I don't know. They don't give us enough information to be able to tell which way they're going, but you would have to think if they brought in a new coach, that right there alone, you know what I'm saying? That right there alone tells you, hey, he'll have the decision on if he's going to go forward with Carr or not. We've seen teams a la of Sean Payton and Russell Wilson. We've seen them cut big numbers before,
Yeah.
I think we should do it, obviously. I feel like a majority of the fans think we should do it. Or you could just go through another year where like the stat just said, you're not going to go to the playoffs. So we can waste another year. We only live so many. But, yeah, sure, we can waste another year with this guy, and then we'll get rid of him the next year. But
Go ahead.
Hopefully we could just start it now, man.
So here's some interesting food for thought. I know that all of us generally are pretty upset with the fact that Mickey Loomis is basically untouchable, right? So he's not really held to a standard of what are the results and you'll be judged by them. But in this coaching search, I actually think that could potentially be a benefit because nobody can promise a potential coach the amount of runway that Loomis can, right? You think about, so the word on the street is Aaron Glenn is number one for the Saints and number one for the Jets. Josina Anderson saying that they're going to fight over him essentially. Who feels more stable? Would you want to go be the head coach of the Jets? And who knows, the GM's getting fired left and right, owner's going to fire you, or would you go to the Saints where, if anything, they'll give you maybe too long, right? And you know who the GM's going to be. So in a weird way, something that we hate a lot of times, Dev, could end up being maybe a positive here.
Yeah, and look, if it's out of them two teams, I'll be honest in saying, if both teams suck and one team's in New York, I'd probably pick the team in New Orleans because you don't have to deal with all the we on the Saints hard, right? But we a small little city. Right?
Yeah. It ain't the same. Yeah.
Dude, New York, bro, they are just, I feel like they knocking on your door, putting notes under the door, all kinds of stuff. So I'd probably pick the Saints, but I'm not particularly sold on the whole Aaron Glenn, not him individually, but really just the whole idea of going after somebody that's been in the house before.
Well, okay, so I get that. So here's where my head's at. If I think about leaders of men and who men would want to follow, I think Aaron Glenn is the best candidate. But it is hard when you look at what Joe Brady's done with the Josh Allen. You mentioned Kingsbury. It is hard to not be tempted by, but what if you get one of these offensive geniuses that can develop a quarterback? Because there's no greater trait in the NFL than the ability to get the most out of a quarterback. So that's kind of where my head's at with everything.
And then if you're looking at all the formulas that have worked, dude, again, Washington was the worst team in the league. They really were. They would have worked at the worst defense, worst everything. and everything. I mean, they got a new GM, they got Kingsbury, they got Jaden, and everything kind of worked itself out. Now, I'm not saying that.
But you got to get Jaden, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you give Kingsbury Spencer Rattler, maybe it ends up really good. I don't know, but probably not like Jaden.
Spencer Rattler with Cliff Kingsbury would be better than a Derek Carr with Cliff Kingsbury, though.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, Rattler with Kubiak wasn't bad, all things considered at times.
That was the whole pile of crap we were sold this past offseason, which I never bought. Never bought it with $1. Was that Derek Carr was a perfect fit for this scheme, this Kubiak scheme. They kept saying it all offseason. Perfect fit. Perfect fit. How is he a perfect fit?
It's just because of play action. I'd say that's it. Just because that's something he's been good at in his career, and it's a lot of that in the Kubiak offense. But every quarterback's good in play action, right? Like that's like every quarterback's friendliest play call. What about should the Saints guys draft T.J. Warren to be the next Taysom Hill? Would you take him at 9?
There's a couple of dudes.
I think the Chargers actually select him.
You wouldn't have to take some of these guys that high, and I don't even know if some of them even enter in the draft. But there's been a couple of dudes who gave me them Taysom Hill vibes. I mean, obviously, your boy for Arizona State,
Cam Scadaboo,
I mean,
Jake's son.
Yo, that dude, bro. Like that's the type of dudes we need on the team, man. Straight up.
Yeah.
I mean.
I don't disagree with that. They do need some people like that. They're just got that dog in them, and they're not going to quit. They're going to keep – not that they don't, but, like, they don't have enough. Like, I'll go into any battle with a guy like Foster Moreau. I go into a dark alley with that guy. But, like, the fact that we can kind of single out who we'd go in a dark alley with from the
Demario
Saints.
Davis, I'd definitely go.
But that ain't good because there's, like, a single play here and there.
Yeah, I mean, you want to – look, let's get some good youth, bro. That's one thing I'll say with the Saints with the draft. You know, everybody's like, hey, well, let's just get another O-lineman. Hey, let's get another – well, that's part of the problem here. The Saints have drafted O-linemen. It's not like they haven't been drafted. They've drafted O-linemen since 2015. They've drafted Pete, Ramczyk, McCoy, Ruiz, Pennon, Fuaga. I mean, they've drafted O-linemen, dude. It's like, how many more years? I mean, if that's 5 out of 10 years you've drafted O-linemen, how many more years you want to draft O-linemen? You know? Eventually, you got to get a playmaker, dude.
Wow, just amazing black and gold takes right there, Jake.
I don't think I've ever heard any takes that are better than the two guys that just gave you that take.
And you can keep getting them by going ahead and liking, subscribing, ringing the bell to get notifications when we post. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next OTB Saints.